going on, everybody? So I want to show you something on these Dolmars. So I was told that on these Dolmars, now some can probably get away with it. This particular model probably doesn't have as much issue, but apparently there are some smaller models that do. So the trick is, the deal is, the bearing isn't like super tight press fit in there, and what happens is the bearing can spin at that point. If you get too much load, over time it'll wear out. So what is done is, and I've done this with the last one I put together, I'm doing it with this one. What you do is you coat these with, it's called Loctite 620. It's a retaining compound, and you can look up there's a sheet that shows you, so any little gap, if there's wear on the outside of the bearing or the inside of the bearing, you can even use it if you wanted to set bearings on a crank. What it does is it fills pockets of wear, unevenness, what have you, and it hardens on metal surfaces, in the presence of metal with anaerobically or no air. So what that does is that seals that bearing in the case, and you don't have to worry about it spinning or anything like that. These, I have heard of cases of bearings spinning, and I was told by a Dolmar Makita dealer, that that's what you want to use even on the big saws. So on every one of these that I put together, I use that retaining compound, just to make sure. I'll attempt to put one of these in here just to kind of show you how much I put on. These go in a little easier, so you don't have to like cool the bearing way down and heat the case way up. You can kind of just heat the case up and have the bearing at room temp with the retaining compound on it, and then I use this press right here, just on the outer race of the bearing, and you kind of have to muscle it in, so you hammer on it a little bit, but I'm not going to show that part because, I mean, there's no need to. I'm just going to show you the application of the retaining compound and then the finished product, and then I'm going to assemble this power saw tonight, so stand by. So essentially I just make sure that there's a thin coating all the way around the bearing. Alright, now I'm going to put this thing in. There we go, it went down in there pretty good. That's what it looks like when it's done. Not bad. So now that I got both bearings set, I'm gonna I got the crankcase gasket. I'll show you. I have the crankcase gasket sitting here in two-stroke oil. Trying to do this with the front camera is not working very well because I can't see. Anyway, it's sitting in soaking in two-stroke oil, and the reason for that is it does is it picks that two-stroke oil up and kind of swells a little bit. That way when the two cases come together, it's not since it's swollen, it kind of fills the gap better. And then once the saw runs and heats up and all that kind of stuff, it'll seal better, is essentially the thinking behind it anyway. Whether or not it works, I don't know, but that's what I do. So I have this saw I'm putting together for a buddy in Ireland. I'm building it for him. He wanted a 7910, so I just happen to have, you know, essentially a brand new one here. So I'm gonna put that together for him, send that to him. I also have a bunch of other stuff that I need to send to him as well. Some Johnson Reds. He's a Johnson Red buff like myself. But yeah, that's probably. I've been wanting to make this video for a while just because this 620 retaining compound is really nifty and important when working with parts that aren't really tight tolerances. You just put a little bit of that on there and it will hold it in place. Like it's pre-assembly. They even use it for pre-assembly. So you know, when they're mass producing stuff that isn't perfectly or isn't really tight tolerances, they'll use this stuff. So it is good stuff. I have another saw, this little Makita right here, needs the bearings replaced in it, and apparently you have to use that stuff too because they're not super tight press in bearings. So anyway, hopefully maybe that'll help somebody out in solving an issue with spun bearings or prevent somebody from spinning bearings in one of these Dolmars. So y'all have a good one. Till the next time.